What is going on, guys? Welcome back to For the Fans. We are here to talk about Big Brother Canada 11. And this week we have Kylie and Karen. What's going on, ladies?
Not much.
Good to see you both. Good to see you both. We're here to talk about the week at hand. It was a crazy week in the Big Brother house. Um, we lost two people this week, which was crazy. We're coming to the end. Arissa tells us there's 3 weeks left. So it's a breakneck speed, and I still feel like I don't really know that much about these people.
It seems
And
super fast, but I mean, like the timeline of everything matches up. And I mean, we've even had more time to spend with these people than normal. And so I don't watch the Canada feed, so I can't say that that has made any difference for me. But there's just some disconnect with this season.
Karen, what have you thought about the cast?
Okay, so remember last time I was on, I was hopeful um, for this season, and I think all of that hope is now gone.
Well, is it because hope is
um,
gone?
Did it go with hope?
maybe, but I mean, it's really. I think it's a bizarre season when I'm in a situation where I'm rooting for Ty. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I can see where
I've
you're coming
seen
from.
that sentiment in the Twitterverse that some people are coming around a bit on him, not me. I and it is also strange because like we have this perfect setup. Like there are 7 people left. There are 2 clearly divided sides and one person in the middle. So like it is setting up for a really fun end game. And so I'm going to remain optimistic that maybe the last 3 weeks can be, the redeemer of the entire season.
So it's funny because
Maybe.
like the season has been poor strategically. Um, Offline, off the air, me and Karen were talking about that, and Karen had mentioned like, it does this get better strategy wise, and I said not this week because it doesn't. It didn't. I mean, leading, and we're gonna walk through it, but like Kuzi's thought process, her planning, Claudia's thought process because she's the new HOH, all of that was very poor strategically.
Right.
Um,
I feel like we've like been depending on Kuzi to kind of lead the strategic game, and I feel like this was not a good Kuzi week.
this was a terrible week strategically for her. Um, and she had the power and the pieces to get it done, and she couldn't do it because she missed things that she should have been able to see and that she was told to, because oddly enough Hope and Daniel had the right strategy down, but she couldn't get on board with it. And the thing that's been really interesting to me is like watching Anika learn how to play the game while the game is going on. And she had a lot of good things early, but like lately she's been like seeing a lot of bad gameplay. So if she's learning from that, then it's not going to help as we continue on. And that's something I want to get into because when we first leave off the last week that we chatted, Kuzi had just won the HOH. We saw her win that live on the show, and we knew that there was going to be what's called a fatal feast that was going to be coming up. There was speculation in the Twitterverse and amongst the people that this would be another safety chain, and lo and behold, it ends up being a safety chain, which I do love. I love the safety chain as a concept. What are your thoughts on the safety chain? Not necessarily how it worked out, but the concept in general.
Yeah, so I don't know how I felt about it previously, but I think I liked it this season.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I've changed my opinion. I really can't remember.
Well,
This
last
is the
season
second.
it ended it with
It's the second time we've seen it in BBCAN, and then we saw it in Celebrity Big Brother. Um,
sort of in Celebrity Big Brother
yeah,
with the
basically the
Mon
same.
Mon
Yeah,
One.
the Mon bag. I like that they also anticipated that this would be a safety chain and that there was strategy going into it, and so I like that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Karen, how did you
I'm
feel about
fine
the
with
safety
safety
chain?
chains. I've never seen them in Big Brother or anything, but I have seen them in orgs. So, and it's not like something I hate, and it's never been anything that's like screwed me over personally. So, um, as far as a game mechanic, I don't know. I guess I think it just depends who has the power in it, if it's interesting to watch or not. Like I felt this was a very predictable one, but I did it like you said, appreciate that there was at least some strategy and like they've
Even though
thought
the
that
strategy
could
was
be what's
flawed. I
happening.
mean, they at least
Well, we'll
I mean,
take what we
they
can get here.
knew, they
Well,
knew that, you know, I'll let you take it from here, Kevin.
Well, I was gonna
Set it
say
up.
the safety chain, it was flawed, but it wasn't right. Like the concept behind it wasn't. The execution by the players was flawed in terms
Well, no,
of
I
what
think they
was best.
executed it fine.
Well,
I think
hold on,
how
let me
they
finish. Let me finish.
decided.
In terms of what was best for their game, it was flawed. They
Yes,
executed exactly how they planned on it, but the plan was broken to begin with, and
bad point.
so
Bad point.
it was executed. And then when it comes back to the safety chain itself, like myself, I like it because it is so different. And even though, like Karen, like you said, it is predictable, it is important because with the safety chain, you need to be able to be good with enough people that you may get chosen, and you need to be
Mhm.
chosen because even in like an org or even in like a Big Brother season, because this will never work to me in a Survivor season, but in a Big Brother season with everyone together, I like the concept of saying, all right, I have the power. I have to choose between KIley and Karen. I'm going to pick, well, Karen was nice to me. KIley's been mean to me. I'm picking Karen. And then KIley is gone. Like it shows where you are in the house. And sure enough, in this game, we had from the jump, Kuzi, when she did before she knew it was going to be a safety chain, she had decided that she was going to target Santina and Ty, which is a grave mistake for her game that we're going to
Terrible.
get into. But I'm gonna go back to that. The problem was she decided with the safety chain that she needed to make sure that Hope did not pick Santina or Ty. So she picks Hope first for the safety chain as it cascades down, knowing that, like you said, Karen, the predictability is there, but knowing that that's what's going to end up happening, it ends up having the girly pops get picked last in terms of the groups, with Renee being the one left out and shown exactly where she stands for Shania.
I mean, I
And
felt so bad for Renee. Like, I'm rooting so hard for this girl because, like, she has just, like she said, she has been dead last from the
yeah,
beginning. Night
yeah,
one, finishes dead last, and then
never recovers.
seriously dead last in almost every single competition.
Never
And
recovers.
so, for her to be the last one, like, if there was 2 people left out of the safety chain, Renee would have made it, but she was the dead last. The
It's
last
true.
one that didn't get chosen that
Claudia
lived.
would have definitely chosen her. But going into this whole safety chain when they thought it was going to be noms, all week, Kuzi, all day, I should say, because safety chain, I
Yeah.
believe, probably happened on Friday, and
Yeah,
then
they said
everything
it
else
was the
considered
next
as
day.
normal. Kuzi had decided to target Ty and
Santino.
Santina. To
Too
me,
solo.
that was too terrible a plan because she has a 4-person group with herself, Hope, um, Daniel, and Anika, which is the remnants of the crown because Jonathan's gone. And then the other side had the girly pops, which is Renee, Shania, and Claudia. Now, the thing that's so interesting to me and is weird about it is that very obviously on his way out, Jonathan told Santina to trust Hope and the crown. They could have easily pulled her in as a 5th, but for whatever reason, Kuzi could never really trust that Santino was with them. And that's so odd to me, especially with the addition of the fact that Ty went to Kuzi literally the week before, and everything Kuzi told him to do, he did, including breaking up with Claudia during that week. Right. So it's just really odd to me that why, if you're Coos, are you targeting
Ty.
Ty and
I mean,
Santina?
I understand. Like, you go for a girly pop, and if Santina ends up being a casualty, not Ty. That's not the person you personally,
No,
Kuzi,
you
need to
go
go
for
for.
both 2 girly pops. There's
Right,
3 of them.
right. But I'm
That's the
saying if
beauty of them.
expect the unexpected. If some crazy thing happens and you are not able to get a girly pop, then sure, Santina is a fine consolation prize.
But Kylie, and that's what's crazy to me is that there's 3 of them in this group. So you put up 2 of them. If one of
Sure.
them pull, you're gonna get
Right.
one
No,
no matter what.
as long as Big Brother doesn't pull some survivor shit,
Correct.
on
Where everybody's
paper,
safe.
you get a
Where
girly
everybody's
pop.
safe, you get one. Right. So Karen, what did you think of Kuzi's strategy going into this before she even noticed it's a safety chain?
I feel like this week left me like before this week I was rooting for Kuzi and now I'm not sure anymore.
Ooh.
However, I think she's still the best of the bunch, which isn't saying much. But yeah, I mean, if you just look at the numbers 3 versus 2, whereas the 2, obviously there's tension between like Santina, Ty, and the girly pops. They're not
Right,
besties.
it's even a 3 versus 2, it's a 3-1-1.
Because Ty and Santina are not together. There's tension between the 2 of them as well.
I mean, you're right. Strategically, you knock off a number from the solid 3.
Right. But
I think it comes down to Kuzi just like not liking Santina. And she can't move
I think that's it.
And I mean, you kind of can't blame her because low key, like I said this, I watched all 3 episodes today and I sent a message and just said, Santina is such a bitch. Like, I cannot wait to watch her play again. Okay, she's a great TV character, but she's a bitch. And so,
I love Santina.
Me too. But I can understand where you would just not want her to be there.
It's interesting because it's interesting because like Santina's having open fights with Anika, right? Who's like Kuzi's number 1. In addition, whenever she talks to Santina, for whatever reason, Kuz just doesn't trust her. Whatever she's saying, she doesn't believe it. Like it could be raining outside. Kuzi could ask Santina, "Is it raining outside?" She'll be wet and say yes, and Kuzi got to go outside to check for herself, only because Santina told her that it was in fact raining. That's how little she trusts her. And
all right, I think Kroger. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think Kuzi's strategy comes in her underestimating that the girly pops can win anything, and I think she's more concerned about Santina and Ty winning stuff.
I could see that too, because with Shania only pulling out that veto win but being last in most other things, with Renee being last in everything, she figures that she just has to get in with Claudia. And she feels like that she's in with Claudia and has a good relationship with Claudia. So she's less concerned about those things because she's been trying to work on that relationship with Claudia. Now, little does she know, the girly pops have it out for Kuzi as of last week, the way they were talking to Ty. And so that's not something that she's privy to, but we are. But it was interesting because we see Hope and Daniel sit down with her along with Anika and say, I can pull in Santina. Like, we need to be going for those girls. And Kuzi's like, no, that's not what we're going to do. Because one thing that I do love about Kuzi is that there's no one else that's going to run her HOH.
No. She's influenced by nobody.
Influenced by no one. She's going to make her own decisions. And the best part to me is that even as I say this, I can see her telling someone, I will make my own decisions. I will decide for myself. And like, you see the way she talks.
You kind of have the Kuzi inflection down, actually.
It's great. And it's because she makes it very clear how she feels to you, and she doesn't care how you feel. She doesn't care how you feel because she's going to tell you exactly how it is and how it is for her. And
at least she's owning it all. Like
all of it. Takes it on the chin. Takes it on the chin. And she tells them, like, Hope is like, I think we should probably save Santina. She's like, no.
This is
She
like
has
the
to go.
first strategically good idea Hope has had
Fantastic.
the entire game.
Fantastic. It was a fantastic move by Hope, and he's right. And then same thing with Ty. He's like, we should probably not be going for Ty. And that was what blew my mind, is because the girly pops have made it very clear that Ty is their target. So if Ty is, if I'm talking to Karen and Karen says she hates KIley, then I'm going to go target Sheldon, because Karen will take care of KIley on her own. I don't need to do anything for Karen because she's already made it clear where her target is. So I thought it was very interesting that she felt like she should go for Ty, especially because Ty has a good relationship with her.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that, Karen?
Yeah, when you have an obvious target up for like Shield, I guess. I don't see why you don't. But however, my biggest problem with this week is not Kuzi's decisions early in the week. It's the whole Claudia HOH.
And we're gonna get to definitely the Claudia.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But
that was a mess.
So
that
like,
was a mess too.
I feel like while Kuzi's was flawed, it wasn't. I can see how she didn't think what happened was going to happen, and now she's in a precarious position because of these decisions.
Well, that Friday, that day, Kuzi does go and talk to Renee, and she talks to the girly pops about trying to, if she keeps them safe, she makes a tenuous alliance, if you will. If I keep you guys safe, you guys keep me safe. Let's do something like that. They obviously agree. They say that they have a common target in Ty and Santina, so let's go for them. So originally, Kuz plans on putting Ty and Santina on the block. We have this whole situation, though, where Daniel walks into the library and finds...
I loved this. Like the books falling off the shelf.
Yeah,
the lights flashing.
It was a whole production by Big Brother, which I loved. But then Daniel thinks that he's going to be looking for a power. So immediately he starts to look. Anika comes in there right after him. And then Hope barricades the door and the search is on.
And they should have just left it the three of them.
And that's the thing, though. It seemed to be the three of them. Santina is looking for everyone, can't find them. Eventually, Santina and Ty realize that they're at the door. While they're there, Claudia's also nearby, and so is Shania. As they're standing at the door, they're keeping everyone out. Frantically, Daniel and Anika are trying to put together what appears to be a puzzle. As they're putting together the puzzle, Ty is like, let me in. They're like, no. Santina's standing there by herself. Hope decides to let Santina in because Hope has a good relationship with Santina. So Santina's down in the room. Ty forces his way in the room. The girls are still being barricaded out because they don't have the brute strength to push Ty, like the push Hope like Ty did. So now they're all in there. The four of them plus Hope are in there searching and putting together this puzzle. Claudia and Shania go and let Renee know and let Kuzi know that they're in there. Kuzi's in her HOH room getting ready. When they go down there, I did love this part. I love this part because they're like, they're not going to let you in. And Claudia's like, oh, they'll probably let Kuzi in. Because, of course.
Obviously.
Sure enough, Kuzi gets to the door and she's like, I'm by myself. Let me in. So Hope opens the door and lets her in.
It's like, I have no problem with them wanting Kuzi in there because Kuzi is a part of their group.
Right.
And you know what I mean? At that point, whenever they're, trying to figure out what this is, like, why are you going to leave Kuzi out of the situation? So, I mean, her going in is fine. It was dumb of them to let Santina and Ty in.
Once Santina and Ty's in, IMO, in my opinion, they should have let the girls in because if we all know that they're going for Ty and Santina, they're already inside because they're not in our group. So if we're not going to adjust now, we should probably let these girls in. The girls are outside fuming. They're pissed.
And they have to feel so shitty. Like, I feel really bad for them.
Well, I did.
But by the same token, I kind of love this drama.
Like the rest of them, I only felt bad once they realized it wasn't a power. If it was a power, they were all trying to get this power, and they had agreed to give it to Daniel. because he was in there first, and Daniel's probably the best position between all the groups inside the house.
Mhm.
So Daniel would have been given the power if there was a power. Alas, there is no power, and it turns out to be an invitation to the fatal feast. And when they let the girls in, the girls are pissed.
And Shania goes off, and good for her. Like, you know, on a personal level for standing up for yourself, a game level, she's acting purely emotionally here.
Yeah, yeah. Karen, what are your thoughts on Shania and Claudia's reaction? Because Renee didn't really seem to be bothered or cared.
I think it's a fair reaction, but I don't know. It's hard to say like what you would do in those situations because I think any showing of or too much showing of emotion usually is a negative thing for your game. But I think it was also fair to be annoyed about it.
I think everybody is right in how they feel about this. Like, I think that they were right for trying to keep the girly pops out, but it doesn't exactly make sense that they let Ty and Santina in. But, I think it's perfectly fine that they were trying to keep it amongst the crown. Makes complete sense. And I can understand where the girly pops are pissed whenever they see Ty and Santina in there and the three of them are let out. So,
So this is my only problem. My only problem with Claudia and Shania's reaction. The only problem I have is Shania continually saying, if this is how you want to play the game, that's pretty messed up. And it's like, bro, we are playing a game. Like, yeah, sure, it's messed up. I don't really give who cares? So that's first off. And then Claudia's low blow to Hope saying, is this how Jonathan would want you to act?
No, I loved that. It was so great. It wasn't a low blow. It's also part of the game. Like,
I love though that Santina was like, don't bring Jonathan into this. That Santina's like, I will beat the blonde ass up if you keep talking about Jonathan like that. Santina's just a G. And I love
some good drama.
Yes.
I'm always here for it.
So as soon as they get the invitation, they then start realizing it's a safety chain, and they need to figure out how they're going to do this. And ultimately, we get to the safety chain, and Kuzi decides to pick Hope first in the safety chain because she felt that Hope would pick Santina, which would have been the right move because the way the safety chain should have gone, in my opinion, is that Kuzi should have picked Anika. Anika picks Daniel. Daniel picks Hope. Hope picks Santina. Santina picks Ty. Ty picks Claudia. Well, Ty doesn't pick because there's 3 left. So that leaves Claudia, Shania, and Renee.
Or worst case scenario, I mean, I don't know for sure that Santina necessarily picks Ty, but maybe she surprises us and picks Shania. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of okay with Shania. Maybe she picks Shania, but okay, great. You got 2 of the girly pops and Ty. Like, that's who you wanted anyways.
Right. Ty then wins the competition like he does, and then it's between Claudia and Renee that we're voting, and we probably vote out Renee because we don't give a fuck. So that's how it should have gone. But instead, Kuzi decides to make sure that Hope does not have the opportunity to pick Santina, which he probably would have, and he probably still should have. She picks Hope first. Hope then picks Anika, who picks Daniel. Daniel then picks Shania. Shania then picks Claudia, which leaves Renee, Santina, and Ty. Do you later on in the week, Ty Hope mentions that he should have picked Santina. KIley, what are your thoughts on what he should have done?
Yeah, we've already discussed this. Like, the one strategic decision that Hope had correct this entire season was this. They absolutely should have targeted the girly pops here, and it's going to be evident in the next 2 weeks that they effed up. So,
Karen, very obviously, Santina would have picked Anika or Daniel, right?
Yeah, she doesn't like the girly pops.
Right?
She doesn't like Anika. She doesn't like Anika either, though.
She doesn't like Anika either because that bitch cooks bad.
So probably Daniel.
She picks Daniel. And then Daniel picks Anika. and then Daniel picks Anika, and then Anika chooses of those 4 left which one she wants. Like you said, maybe not Ty, maybe Claudia, maybe Shania, who knows? But that would have been the best strategy. But in last, we get what we get, and Santina is left on the block because there's a competition between the 3 of them, Renee, Santina, and Ty. Obviously, Renee comes in last.
And obviously Ty wins.
And obviously Ty wins. So now it's between Santina and Renee. And my heart broke for Santina because I watched as she tried to get votes and they didn't even really like pretend with her.
But what I love is that out of everyone, she ends up pissed at the girly pops. She's mad that Claudia and Shania didn't save her over Renee.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Because she's like, I'm gonna go to these 3 first. I'm gonna go to these 2 first and see what I can do. It's not really working. F Claudia, F Shania.
I'm like, girl, you've been a bitch to them and they have been extremely loyal to each other. Like, you're barking up the wrong tree. Why did you even try? I mean, you have to at least try, but talk to them, be like, look, I am willing to go to the end with y'all. Like, I will replace Renee. I can win comps. Like, let's do this. The 3 of us. I'm the new girly pop.
So, Karen, what did you think of what Ty said to her? Like, if you can get anybody else, we'll see what I can do. But I don't think you'll get anybody else.
I mean, I feel it's typical Ty tact. Which isn't always bad to watch, but I feel like that's a lot of the season and cast. Like, what is that? But I mean, it's entertaining at least.
Ty is just a straight shooter about what he likes and doesn't like, and he does not really like Santina, and he's kind of just made that clear. Just kind of made that clear all along. So we get to a vote. Santina is crying because she can't get any votes, and sure enough, unanimously she gets voted out. She doesn't really hug anybody.
No, she hugs everyone but Claudia and Shania.
Yeah. She loves everybody
because
except for Claudia and Shania, and then she leaves. And when she gets outside for the second time in a row, she says that she's rooting for Kuzi. So once again, Kuzi let the wrong person go because she should have probably saved Jonathan last time, even though I'm pretty sure Jonathan chose the lead.
But I mean, she doesn't let the wrong person go if she makes it to the end. She's got it on lock.
Well, they're all on the jury, yes. They're all on the jury, yes. But they would have been on the jury eventually anyway. And so you need to get rid of the imminent threat, which is the girly pops who don't want you there. So you got to get rid of those 3 instead of trying to work with them. And then you have people like Santina, like Jonathan, like Ty, who are going to like work to get you to the end. Because what she doesn't know, what we know on the outside of the house is that, and I don't know if you 2 know this, Daniel and Anika have a final 2. That they are in. Yeah. Daniel and Anika have a final 2 deal. And they know that they need to get rid of Kuzi eventually. And so they're aware of this. They're not trying to get her to 3. And so since that's the case, they need to get rid of those are 2 people she can't really trust. She can trust them as far as she can, but they're not really looking out for her best interest. A person like Ty, a person like Hope, a person like Santina and Jonathan all have stated that they would take Kuzi to the final 2 because they would rather beat the best or lose to the best. And they all considered Kuzi to be the best, which is hard as you watch Kuzi target Ty and Santina, knowing that these are 2 people that are going to work with you to get to where you need to be. But alas, Santina walks out the door, and it's already the end of Kuzi's HOH weekday. It was a day.
Yeah.
We have a new HOH competition.
I loved this competition. Like
Me
maybe
too.
one of my most favorite comps they've ever done in a Big Brother season.
So this comp was also in the mole, which I
Okay.
loved it
I
when it
didn't
was in
watch
the
them all.
mole. On the mole on Netflix, they had to figure out who drank the bad thing, and if you like you have a tell, then if they all pick you, you get eliminated, such and so on and so forth. Obviously, the mole never had the bad thing, and obviously the mole knew they were never going to have the bad taste thing. Obviously. In the mole. In this one, we watched as it happened, and I loved the developing strategy as it went on. When Claudia says, "I'm just going to pick Ty," so that
Yeah.
way either I get him out or I get a point or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I loved that developing strategy as the
Yeah.
comp was going on because it was never something that they have seen before unless they watched the
Mhm.
mole on Netflix. So they didn't know how this was going to go. With that being the case, I think that the best players left in the house are Claudia and Kuzi.
I mean, I guess
I think
maybe.
it's hard to say that after Claudia's HOH.
Because as this competition wears down, it ends up as Shania and Claudia as the final two. I thought it was a fantastic strategy, by the way, to get down to Daniel, Claudia, and Shania. Claudia and Shania just picking Daniel.
Right.
Daniel picking
The wrong
doesn't
person.
matter. He only has a 50-50
Yeah.
shot.
But can we back up just a smidge to Renee taking her nasty shot and like throwing it halfway on her face? That one hit a bit different, y'all.
Watching them take the shots and have to have a poker face was really fun.
It was fun. I mean, because I was trying to predict the whole time too. And I mean, Shania was good.
Yeah.
She
I
had
thought
a
they were all
poker
pretty
face.
good.
I
Yeah.
thought they were all pretty good. None
Yeah.
of them really gave away too much that they gave.
I feel like I would be terrible at that. Like I'd be like,
Right.
"Ugh."
I felt like Daniel had a really
Or
good
just like-
strategy because he was literally throwing it back, like head tilted all the way back. I was like, okay, I think that's a bit of an advantage because he can mask his face maybe a little bit in that half a
Mhm.
second where his head is tilted back. But Shania was like staring into your soul, taking her shot, straight faced.
Mhm.
It was fantastic. It was a fantastic
Mhm.
look. And in
Really
the
good.
end,
I don't think I loved how the conclusion, but I don't know how they could have done it differently once it got to the final two.
mhm,
I
mhm.
didn't like it to just be a tiebreaker question.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
How would you do it at the end? So there's two people left. One of you has to take the bad shot. The other one has to say it's you. You say it's each other, obviously. Um, how would you do it? In the mole, it got down to 3.
Mhm.
And the 3 had to be both right, and then the money goes into the pot or not. They're able to pick who the person was. But obviously, you need to find one winner
Yeah.
here.
I don't I've been thinking about it. I don't exactly know how you play it out at the end, but I didn't
Yeah.
love just a tiebreaker question.
I think maybe you
Make them both drink a nasty one and the eliminated players get to try and guess. I don't know.
maybe
But
something like
it doesn't
that, or maybe set up like 5 shots, and then they go one by one, and whoever ends up picking
Ooh,
the
yeah, that's
nasty
kind of
one,
fun. Like
whoever picks the nasty one, is
Russian
the
roulette.
yeah. Basically, yeah, something like that. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
alas, we get a tiebreaker question, and Claudia is the new HOH. And immediately I'm
And I
concerned.
mean, she damn near nailed that number. 2 off. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I thought Kuzi was in trouble immediately with the moment that Claudia won the HOH. Because the person that's been beating the drum that Kuzi has been running things has been Claudia. And I was immediately concerned.
Oh, but just you wait. Claudia has a plan.
Well, Claudia's plan is that now that Santina's gone, she needs to get out Ty. I mean, Ty's her target, which is so weird because they've been in the showmans and I've never seen the showmans go after each other. And now I have, which I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay. So I loved Ty breaking down the strategy with the gummy bears or whatever he was doing.
Genius.
Because I
3
thought
over
it
here,
was
4
spot
over there.
on.
Yep.
He was spot on, and I'm like, how is Ty the voice of reason?
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
And he like
He's completely right. And I was like, okay, she
Yeah.
sees the light. She's not going to put up Ty. And then also
And
what I
Shania even said something to her as well that was like, I forget what she said, but she was like, well, maybe we need to think about this a little more, basically. And I forget what she said, but
I cannot also get over this narrative that Hope is a good physical competitor. Hope is not a good physical competitor. He's not.
I mean, he hasn't proven to be one.
Correct.
But
So he needs to stop saying that he is a good physical competitor / comp beast. You're not. You won the toothbrush game. Right? Isn't that the one comp he won?
I thought he won 2.
well, he won the one that they said they threw to him, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
It was a toothbrush one, and he did well in the other one, but he lost in the final. And then he like yells at Vanessa or whatever, and then the one that Zach beats him in.
Yeah. Anyways,
But
he is not a comp beast / physical competitor. So the narrative of putting him up on the block so that he for sure gets to play in the veto, like, come on, this is crazy.
well, it's interesting because they also think that Hope is working with Ty, so they figure they'll get one of them out, one of these big comp threats out, but preferably get Ty out. So after Ty breaks down the strategy, which was bang on, Claudia still doesn't want to believe it nor trust it. Also, Claudia wants, I mean, earlier this season, I said that Claudia and Ty is like a Romeo and Juliet type situation, with Claudia being a part of the Montagues and Ty being a part of the Capulets, and just warring families. And that was early in the season. And though all of Ty's family has died,
He won one veto week 1 or week 3. Sorry.
You're talking about Hope. Yeah. And so like all of Ty's people have gone by the wayside. The wars continued on between the Montagues and the Capulets, but now it's time for Romeo to shoot at Juliet and vice versa. And Claudia gets the chance to shoot first. And due to Ty not listening to her just 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, wasn't even 2 weeks ago, a week ago, it's going to end up being who she is. That's who she's targeting, which is obviously a mistake. But I'm happy. As a Kuzi fan, I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. Don't look this way. Don't look over here. Forget about the fact that you were hating on Kuzi and said she was running the game. Let's forget that. Let's go ahead and go for Ty. So she puts Ty on the block with Hope. Kuzi had bad gameplay. This is also poor gameplay. Now, this is not nearly as bad as what Kuzi was doing, and let me tell you guys why. We see it a little bit later on, but Daniel C has always been like the 4th member of the Girly Pops. Secretly. And the Girly Pops have decided, if you will, that they wanted to strike out and see about a new alliance. So Shania and Claudia have formed a new alliance with Anika and Daniel. It's a secret alliance between the 4 of them. Renee's not in it. Kuzi's not in it. So, with that being the case, and that's important because with Claudia winning the HOH, it kind of immediately takes Daniel and Anika off the table as people she's considering putting up.
That's interesting because I think the right game move, without knowing that information, is to put Daniel and Anika up. Maybe because I think people are noticing Kuzi as a threat, but I don't know.
So, I guess I'm a little bit confused there then because I didn't know that information. And so that makes me think of Claudia's HOH reign a little bit differently because if she's able to come out of this with the two girly pops, and she's proven like, hey, Anika and Daniel, I had the option to put you up on the block and I didn't. And they both, Anika and Daniel know that they cannot go to the end with Kuzi and beat her, and that they're going to turn on her at some point. Damn, like Claudia and Nene are very well positioned.
They
And that
are.
kind of changes my opinion a
And
lot.
that's what's
Mhm.
interesting is because there's not too many options. We're running out of options, and she's not going to immediately put up Renee herself for obvious reasons. It's not a move that she can do. She's limited to options to put on the block in terms of Ty,
Mhm.
Hope, and Kuzi, in terms of the people that she's going to choose from. So she puts up Ty and Hope, knowing full well that Kuzi would probably be the backdoor option. Probably, I say probably because along the way, as we all know, Ty's really good at comps. Ty wins the veto and plans on taking himself down. We see in the episode Anika have a conversation with Daniel about Kuzi having to be the option to go up. What we also saw, though, on the daily double drops is that
Almost.
Kuzi had a conversation with Daniel about the same thing, about putting up Anika. And when she has the conversation, the clip that we see where Daniel goes and talks to Claudia and utilizes him helping save her was a clip from him talking to her about putting up Anika. And she's like, well, Anika be pissed. She says, I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Knowing that she would be pissed because that's in Kuzi and Daniel's conversation, they talk about the fact that Anika will be pissed about going up. But he does work a little bit with Kuzi. With Kuzi about trying to get Anika put on the block to help make sure Kuzi's safe. Because what they're concerned about is that if they go up, that Hope will turn on the crown and tell the girly pops that she's been in an alliance with them the whole time, which would be a problem for obvious reasons. The three of us have seen Hope. We know that Hope is not that kind of guy. He's not going to turn on the crown, but that was obviously a point of concern. Before we get deeper into that, though, we get the veto picks. This is important. I want to talk about this. The people that got picked for veto. We have Ty and Hope, obviously. We have Anika. We have Shania, and Claudia gets house guest choice. She chooses to have Renee. She has Renee compete in the competition.
Well, once again, like, I mean, I didn't have a problem with Claudia doing this to begin with anyways. Like, obviously, she needs to keep the girly pops, if the girly pops can control it and she keeps, you don't want to limit yourself in your choices. So the less out of, Anika and Kuzi and Daniel playing, the better.
So that's the thing, though, right?
Yeah.
I thought she should have picked Daniel. But then now that I think about it out loud, they don't know that Daniel won that veto. So you don't know that Daniel has a good chance of competing and playing well.
Daniel is the only player right now that excites me.
Kuzi excites me. I like Kuzi's gameplay. It's been a little flawed, but I like the fact that everyone thinks she's playing the best game, which makes me feel good about that. But I thought she should have picked Daniel because you're right, KIley, that if she can keep it in the girly pop's hands, they're in a good spot. But Renee has proven to not be good at competitions, and you need to make sure Ty doesn't win the competition. Because your target, if you're Claudia,
but I mean, in all honesty, is Daniel probably going to win this comp either? No. The only one of them that could have won would have been Kuzi. I don't think
and that's what's interesting is that because, and I just thought about this right this moment, by them not knowing that Daniel did win a veto, they don't think she looks around and sees a bunch of losers. Everyone here except for Kuzi has lost.
Well, but I mean, the one that he won is not anything that was physical. I mean, he had to put some bags up on the table, but they all had to do it. You know what I mean? It was more of basically more of like a mental comp, to be honest, if he was able to guesstimate the weights correctly. And so, I mean, even if they knew that information, like that doesn't necessarily translate to doing well in this.
But you don't know what the comp is going to be, though. That's the point. Is that you
True.
don't know what the comp is going to be, and knowing that he's won one tells me that there's a chance that he can win. And also knowing that Renee has been last in most of them tells me that she's going to probably not win.
There's no scenario where I think it would have been a good idea for her to not choose Renee.
Interesting.
Like,
interesting.
I mean, I think it definitely makes
Renee's
sense not to choose Kuzi.
Yeah, you can't choose Kuzi because if there's a chance that that's probably the person you want to put up, you definitely can't choose Kuzi. But like, you have your friend that's sitting there and you can give her the opportunity to play whenever she is just left out of the safety chain the day before. And she has, been on the block 4 times and she's had such a shit season. You say her name.
Now that's a very, very, very good point. By Claudia not picking Renee or Shania not picking Renee, you need to rebuild trust with Renee. So you need to pick Renee and say, I believe in you, girl. Even though you don't really believe in her, because you got to. That's a very good point that they had to do. But we get them upstairs, and Kuzi is going ballistic as she talks to Daniel. And the reason she is because, she's made this tenuous deal days before to make sure the girly pops don't hit the block. And so I loved this because this coupled with what happens later on when Kuzi does go on the block, they go together, in my opinion. Because Kuzi goes up there and she's going off to Daniel. Claudia walks into her HOH room and they're in there. And Daniel's like, "Whoop, this is my chance to leave." And Kuzi says to her, "You will pick Renee. Renee hasn't won anything. She's terrible. Like, you will pick Renee? Why didn't you pick me? Do you not trust me? Do you not trust me?"
I kind of low-key loved her, like, putting this pressure on her.
Yes.
I don't love then the rest of the reaction that she has. And I think this is the first. I think strategically she made a mistake in the whole safety chain situation.
Yes.
But socially, I think this is the first mistake we have seen from Kuzi.
Oh, I think the opposite, because by putting
I'm talking about the whole reaction where then, later she's going to come back and she's going to have this sit down conversation with her after
they couple together. And I think they make it better for her. And I'm going to explain to you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. So right now she puts the pressure on her, right? She says to her, like you said, she turns up the heat and she says, "Do you not trust me to get the job done?" No, Kuz. No. That's not what it is at all. Okay. I mean, I just thought that you.
Yeah, homegirl, I don't trust you because if that comes down, your ass is going up because you're going to win this game. So you got to not compete.
But by putting that pressure on her, she's like, "We just made a deal. We just worked this out. I can't believe you've done this to me by picking," and that's the hard part. That's the hard part, is that Claudia got a house guest choice. So she had to openly choose in front of them, Renee. As long as she just picked Renee's name, and she picks it up and says, "Renee," it is what it is. But she chooses Renee. And so this is what makes Kuzi go ballistic. Ty wins the veto, obviously. There has to be a replacement nom. Daniel goes up and tries to make it Anika. After this conversation, they try to make it Anika. Shania and Claudia on the Daily Drop talk about, well, is Anika locked into the 4 of us? And Daniel's like, yeah, she's good. She's good. Mind you, he hadn't really talked to her about it, but he's saying that she's good with the 4 of them. Cool. Mm-hmm. When he talks to Kuzi, he says, "It's not really working. I'm trying, but it's not really working," because they feel like Daniel has influence over Claudia. Daniel mentions that he's going to see what he can do, and he tries to leverage his picking Claudia in the safety chain as an option for it, which I thought was smart by Daniel. What we don't see, but we do see on the Daily Drop, is that Kuzi starts to talk herself into being okay with going on the block, because she says that if I go on the block, then I have a reason to put Claudia up now.
Yeah.
I have a reason to put Claudia up because she's like, I will probably still be safe. Ty will probably vote against me, but Claudia and Shania and Renee are saying that we are going to keep Kuzi. They're telling Daniel that we will keep Kuzi. So Kuzi's going to have to go up, but we will keep whoever goes up because Hope has to go home. They tell him that ahead of time, which obviously you don't see in the episode for obvious reasons. But they tell him that, and you see that on the drop, is that they tell Daniel, we're going to vote. We'll make sure that Kuzi stays. It would be real bad pool if they just made this new 4-person alliance and then lie to Daniel. Now, if Daniel changes his mind and wants Kuzi to go, then we can see Kuzi go. But
I'm still waiting for you to get to the point of how this is Kuzi continuing to get mad.
So after this happens, we see on the episode Kuzi gets put on the block. Kuzi then sits down with Claudia, and she says to Claudia, I'm the one that engineered you being safe. That was me. So her taking a little bit of credit for that, I thought was an interesting move because she doesn't pick anything. She chooses Hope. And Daniel rightfully used that to his advantage. But after this, she once again puts the screws on Claudia and says, are you okay with me going? So I'm okay to go home for you. If things don't work out, I'm okay. I'm the expendable one. Once again, making Claudia double down on what she's telling her in terms of that she's going to be safe. The reason I thought this was a good move was because now Claudia kind of has to make sure this goes through. Because Kuzi's going to be on the jury.
Yeah, I disagree with you here.
Talk to me.
If Kuzi ends up going home, you stroke her ego. Kuzi, everyone knew you were going to win the game. You had, you are a competition threat. You're a social threat, strategic threat. So sorry that it worked out like this, but yeah, you had to go. You stroke her ego. Where I don't like what Kuzi did is not with whatever happens with Claudia and the girly pops, but what she does to alienate Daniel and Anika. Oh. And Daniel is like, girl, all of the moves that you've been making all season, these are my moves.
They can't just all be yours. We're doing them together.
We're doing them together. And I think that annoyance with Kuzi from her alliance members is very, very bad for her.
Agreed.
And agree with you on that. And then hearing that they've actually, before that, gone ahead and made a Final Four without her makes me very much worried for our girl Kuzi. Very much worried.
And that's a good point. So that part, I do agree with you. Karen, what are your thoughts?
I just I was very bothered by the way she was talking to Claudia, her attitude and how she was talking down to her, trying to make her feel like she was wrong and being stupid and just kind of discounting anything that she tried to say, but she wouldn't really let her talk much. I don't know. I was very turned off by the attitude about it. It just I don't know. It just seemed really arrogant to me.
No, I liked that part.
I loved that part because you're right, Karen. It was very arrogant, but it was presumptive, and that was important. And that she was going to go in there and she was going to make sure that because like I said earlier, she said to Daniel, "This gives me a reason to put her up if she puts me up, so I'm okay with going up." Because and I don't know why. In Big Brother, people feel like they need a reason. The reason is because I'm trying to win the game. So sorry. Right. But they felt like they needed a reason to put her up. This gives her that reason. And so now she goes and she makes Claudia feel bad to make sure Claudia keeps her, which is important. I thought that was an important thing. Because Claudia is in control of both. That would
make me want to get rid of her.
That's the thing, though, is that they've already told her that she's going to be safe. And by Kuzi, I thought the stroke of genius was Kuzi saying, you're okay with me going home. You're okay with it being, you're saying you want Hope, but you're cool that if it messes up.
I don't think it's a stroke of genius because inside Claudia is like, yes, I'm okay with you going home.
No, but that's the point, is that she's not.
She is, though. If Kuzi goes home, this isn't bad for Claudia.
No, that's correct. That's correct. The reason I'm saying that it was a stroke of genius is because they're openly saying that it's Hope. They're telling Daniel in private that it's Hope. They're saying that Hope is the one they want gone. So if you change it, you got to change it on Daniel.
You don't have to change it, but if Claudia's hands are tied, like I make the nominations, I don't get to cast the votes. So
sure.
Huh?
Sure. I mean, she doesn't get to cast the votes, correct?
She doesn't get
but
to cast the votes.
Shania is going to listen and do what she says.
The girly pops are going to vote together. Anika and
Daniel
are going to vote together, and that one swing vote is tie. So I mean, if one of these two duos changes their mind and tie goes with them, I can't control that. So in that essence, like, yes, Kuzi, I am okay with you going home. Hence why I did not nominate Renee or Shania, because I would not have been okay with them going home.
And
so
while
in
you're
the scheme of
correct,
things, yes, Kuzi, I am okay with your game being on the line here, or I would not have said your name.
Right. That it takes a different person that's saying that, though.
Right.
Right.
And I would
that's
have
the
said
thing. Correct. KIley would have said it. That's not what Claudia would have said. And that's the point. Is that Claudia's like, I made this deal with you. Kuzi's like, I made a deal with you last week. I said I was working with you. I didn't even pick you guys. I made sure that I made sure that Daniel had the option to pick you guys and to keep you guys safe. Like I said, I use air quotes, but that's the angle she's using to try to say that she was in charge of this thing. So she has said that I've held up to my end of the bargain. My people are going to save me. If I go home, this is due to you and your people and your people's actions. You get what I'm saying? Like,
but it may not necessarily be, because I don't think that the girly pops are probably going to go back on their decision if her alliance, the crown, doesn't change their minds.
Correct.
In that case, once again, like, Claudia's hands are tied. Like, she didn't get to. She's not the one that decided that.
You keep saying her hands are tied, but her hands
are
not tied. I disagree, because she knows what Shania and Renee are going to do, and they're going to do what she wants them to do.
Right. And so I don't think that the flip comes from them. If Kuzi is voted out there, I think it's 100% because of the crown. So
it's gonna be 5-0. It'll be 5-0.
Right. 100%. But I don't think it's initiated by them. I think it's initiated by Daniel and Anika, aka Daniel.
Agreed. No. All of that I agree.
It's out of Claudia's hands.
No.
Yes.
The part that's in Claudia's hands is making sure that Shania and Renee don't flip. That's the part
they're not going to.
Correct. That's the part. But that's what I'm saying. When Kuzi goes, the confidence that Kuzi has when she's having this conversation, that Daniel and Nico are not going to turn on her. So she's trying to make sure that on their own power, Shania and Renee don't turn on her and vote with Ty. That's what I'm getting at. You are 100% correct that if it happens, it's going to be Daniel, and it's going to always be Daniel to have been the one that done it, because it's true. But she thinks, in Kuzi's mind, she has Daniel and Anika under control. In Kuzi's mind, right? So everything that when she's having this conversation with Claudia, this all lynches on Claudia keeping her two people up to the deal that she's made with her. Now, mind you, what you said is also correct. Her taking full credit for all the things in front of Daniel and Anika, bad move. Terrible. That's where you're in trouble. But you're muted, Karen, if you're talking to us.
Oh, I was gonna say I have a question about that. I don't know if I missed it, but how did Daniel hear Kuzi taking credit for the moves? Who told him, or did he hear it?
Sure. He comes in there and rants about it.
Because I heard him saying, like, "What are you doing?" Like saying these are your moves, or so, like, to the camera or whatever. But I don't. I didn't.
About it a little bit later.
I missed how he got the information.
She ran it about a little bit later, and I'm pretty sure Claudia and Shania told them about the conversation. But she also does rant about it a little bit later on the drop. And so ultimately, we start seeing Hope saying goodbye. And Hope knows that he's going home because he's not turning on the crown. He's not going to turn on the crown. He'll go home as the soldier that he is. Make sure to protect Queen Kuzi. And he just takes his ball and goes home. Um, you see him talk a little bit to Ty and to Anika and Daniel, but these conversations don't end up fruitful. Finally, you get a crown symbol. They do the H's. They send Hope home with a vote of 4-1. Then they do a dance. The first time I've ever seen that happen.
Well, I mean, that is definitely Hope's personality. Like I said, he is
Yeah.
not someone that I would be able to handle in a long-term situation. His energy would be too much for me. But, that's what they want for a television show. And Hope brought what you want from a character. Terrible, terrible Big Brother player.
Yeah, but I
Fantastic
honestly I
person.
didn't mind him on my screen though. Like
No,
he
I
was
didn't mind
Right.
him on
a
my screen.
joy.
Great person, great TV
Yeah.
character, terrible Big Brother player. He'll probably play again.
Always fun. Always fun. I can't wait to see him and Moose hanging out in these Canadian streets. Maybe I'll run into them at a thing if I'm in Canada or if they're in the US somewhere at a thing.
Yeah.
I liked
Because
that Kuzi and Hope were coordinated, like with their outfits.
I do
Mhm.
too.
It
I
looked
like
really
that
good.
they wore traditional outfits that like gave reference to their home countries. I
Mhm.
loved there was a scene in this episode where Daniel cries a little bit as Kuzi and Hope talk in Twi, their native tongue. Um, Anika's
Mm.
Bangladesh, and she speaks a little bit of her native language. And Daniel talks about how diverse their group was with
Mhm.
not them just being different races but from different just ethnic backgrounds culturally. um
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah,
such a
I
cool
like that
scene.
too.
It was such a good scene. And Hope leaves, and Hope says to Arissa that he is rooting for Kuzi and he would have taken Kuzi to the end. He says on some things, and he's rooting for Kuzi, which is that's the third person in a row that's rooting for Kuzi
Yeah.
on her way out the door, their way out the door, and that's interesting. But we get another HOH competition on the episode. We have a new HOH for the first time ever. She did not finish it dead last. Renee is the new HOH. That is right.
The twist nobody saw coming.
No.
I mean, like I said, I am all on. I'm starting to maybe even like over the course of this hour that we have been on, I am maybe coming around more on Daniel. Like maybe I've been sleeping on him a little bit, like hearing some of the stuff from the digital drops, but from the edited show, Daniel wasn't necessarily a front runner for me. But maybe I'm starting to change my opinion a little bit. But I was all on board, like a Kuzi win or a Renee win. Like I cannot help it. I am rooting so hard for Renee. And so like
Interesting.
in this HOH competition, when it was between like Kuzi, Renee, and Nene, I was like, okay, Shanae, you can go on somewhere. But I was like, oh my gosh, Kuzi and Renee, like this showdown between the two sides. And I couldn't help it when Kuzi got the question wrong. I was excited for Renee.
When Renee wins,
I was excited
and
for
just
Renee to win.
I was excited once Renee won, and she's like, "Oh my god! I told you guys I could do it. I told you I could do it."
I'm
She
just
did
like
it.
really happy that I'm changing my mind a little bit about the strategy based on some things that you said, Kevin. But I feel like I just hate Big Brother seasons where there's a dominant alliance and they just ride to the end. It's
Yeah.
like we could have predicted 4 episodes ago that Kuzi was going to win and she's just going to go straight to the end.
Mhm.
But we're seeing it mixed up, if not on purpose by accident somehow, but at least it's
Yeah.
getting mixed up and the people who are on the bottom are winning these HOHs and
Yeah, I mean, and
there's the
like I said,
opportunity for it to be mixed up.
yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm excited, reserving hope for the end game that this, 3-3-1 split is a very interesting end game. And especially if we can
Mhm.
see, Kuzi side win the HOH next round.
So that is the episodes at large. I have a little piece from a drop today, which I thought was interesting.
Nom, nom,
Um,
nom. Let's hear it. Okay,
if you guys
hold
want to
on.
get it,
Before we get there, let's talk about this. So Renee is HOH. Obviously, she's going to nominate Ty. Ty hates her. She hates Ty.
100% Ty's going up.
So that
Ty's
one's
going up for sure.
slam dunk, easy breezy. But does she outright target Koozie, or does she drop, one of the other two up?
So you know what? You don't even have to leave because I don't know if this is going to make an episode. I don't know what makes the episode on the drops, but she had a conversation with Kuzi to yesterday, I guess. So it was on today's drop. And she tells Kuzi that she's 100% safe. That she's not thinking about her at all. She's not someone that she wants to go for.
Checks can bounce in the Big Brother house.
Correct. But can checks bounce for Renee? Renee has won a miraculous win. She gets coming last all the time. I think it's important for her to be about her word, right? And so she's telling Kuzi that she's 100% safe. I'm assuming that we're going to see maybe Anika and Ty on the block. And if Ty comes down, Daniel goes up.
Dumb. Like that would be so dumb of her. But
So
it would be shocking.
So one thing that was talked about, I think on a drop and not in the episode, was Ty was talking to Hope and talking about him leaving, Hope leaving. And Ty said, based on how the makeup is, he should probably try to get with Renee because Anika has Daniel and Kuzi. They left. Shania has Claudia. So Ty's like, I don't have anyone to go to the end with. He talks to Kuzi first, and he pitched the final two to Kuzi. Kuzi says she's down, so he's like, that's an option. But then Ty's like, Renee has no one either because those two have each other. So I maybe need to talk to Renee, and maybe we need to make a 3. Hope didn't talk about the crown, but he said that Renee doesn't really fill in with the girls because they picked each other, and that she's always last. With that being an option, I think Ty is still Renee's target. Agreed. But does the 3 of them talk about trying to form something?
No.
Does Renee and Kuzi, though, try to form something?
I don't think so. I think I've said all along that I think Renee does have like really good game sense. She's just not until this week had the position to be able to show off her strategic prowess. And so, no, I think Renee sees the writing on the wall that Kuzi cannot be at the end. I would hope. But then with you saying that she has told Kuzi she's safe makes me doubt what I know. So I don't know.
That's interesting. I feel like maybe there are good strategic options left for Ty, but he has zero social capital. Like he was correct with Claudia, and he couldn't get it done. And so I don't have any faith because I don't think anybody likes him that much.
And plus, been there, done that, seen it. Not interested in seeing it again. Ty's run here for me has run out. Like ready for him to be in the jury house.
Well, it's interesting because
then it's really a showdown.
This is so interesting because Ty, I can see Ty winning this game. Or at least being at the end. I don't know about winning, but he could be at the end because I think he can comp his way to the end because the people
he very well could.
That are left, he can beat. He needs to get out Claudia. He needs to get out Kuzi because they're the only ones that are like a threat to him winning comps. But like anything physical, he could win. Anything balance-wise, he can win comparatively.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's much harder to, do like what Mike Holloway did in Survivor and win out as opposed to being able to do it in Big Brother. We have seen it done before, like Cody, California, excuse me, according to Turner. Cody, California did it, 3 seasons ago. So,
and all you have to do is win the veto comps. Mm-hmm. And in 2 turns. Well, after this week we're gonna have a double. So after the double, they'll all be there. Like you just have to win the vetoes. And so I don't know if that's gonna be enough to get him to win because if he's sitting next to Kuzi, he still loses.
Oh yeah.
If he's sitting
I think
next
he
to
loses against pretty much everyone.
I don't think so. I think he beats Anika. I
Mm,
don't feel like the jury
yeah.
feels like Anika's doing anything. I think he beats Anika. I think he beats Renee.
I don't know. I don't know if he beats Renee. Renee's got a good story.
Well, so Renee's going to law school as we talked about. So hopefully she can use some of her law skills to like work that out for herself and be able to pitch for herself. I think he beats Shania though.
I don't know. I think Shanae is really well liked. I mean,
She's not that well liked. So she doesn't have really any game relationship with Jonathan, Santina, Kuzi.
it's a toss up. We'll see what happens.
So when it comes,
Shania's my winner pick.
That's the hard part. Is that I don't think she does. Now, if she sits, I think Shania can beat Renee. Maybe I think if I were to rank them in terms of likelihood to win based on who's left, Kuzi. I think it goes Kuzi, Daniel, Ty, Anika, Claudia, Renee, Shania.
I think
Maybe
Shania
Claudia
beats
higher
Ty.
than Anika. I think that's because as much as Ty is not well liked, he can say that he was the target for everyone.
Right, and that's what Renee can say. So I mean,
but Ty had to win to keep himself safe, whereas Renee, there was just other people ahead of her.
But she was I don't know. I mean, I see it. I don't think there's like a 0% chance that Ty can't win. I don't like it. But to be honest, like I think Daniel's gonna win.
I would love that.
Do you think Daniel could beat Kuzi?
No, I don't think Daniel could beat Kuzi, but I don't think Kuzi's going to be there.
But do you think Daniel could beat everybody else?
I think he can beat everybody else probably, and I don't think Kuzi will be there, so it's not going to matter.
Obviously, in order for Daniel, if he can beat everybody else, that means Kuzi can't be there.
But
would you like to know who we have left in our draft, KIley?
Yes, I didn't get to participate, so tell me.
I know. Yeah. So Sheldon still has Daniel and Ty left. JT still has Anika left.
Can I take over JT's team?
Sure, you have Anika now.
Okay, thank you.
Karen still has Shania and Claudia left, with Hope going home this week. And I still have Kuzi and Renee left.
Hold on. Karen, did you pick Claudia because of her name?
Maybe.
That was part of it.
I just I have it in my mind that she's getting 4th place, and I just still feel very confident about that. I can't wait to see if she gets 4th place because I just feel like it was a vision that she's in 4th place.
Shania was Claudia's first, was Karen's first pick. Shania was Karen's first pick.
Okay.
My winner pick, yeah.
Sheldon picked Daniel first off the board. I got Kuzi at the turn because I picked Jonathan first. JT had picked Santina first because he thought she was going to be the new age Tiffany Mitchell, which I thought was interesting. But
no, she is unlike any Big Brother character I've ever seen. Would love to see her play again.
I would too. Santina's great. So with all of that being said, please like, comment, do that. If you hit the little bell, you'll know when we are going to be going live each week. Karen, you have anything you want to tell the peoples?
I mean, the cat is beautiful.
There you go. The cat's beautiful. KIley, you got anything you want to tell the people?
Make sure you check out our recap from Survivor 44 that we did last night. I honestly think it was the best season. I mean, the best episode of the season so far. And I think it was our best podcast of the season, too.
That's right. We missed Karen yesterday. Karen, I thought last week's episode of Survivor, this past week's episode of Survivor was pretty boring. That's just my opinion. KIley loved it, which is because, as you know, Karen, KIley likes nothing that's new. She only likes old stuff. So this was like an old episode of Survivor.
What they
did
say,
not get
out with the new, in with the old.
Even though it's the Big Brother podcast, Karen, you're normally on our Thursday episode. Give me a real quick 1 minute synopsis on what you thought of last night's the episode of Survivor.
I thought it was solid, but the challenge was too long for my personal taste. I would have preferred to see a little more strategy talk instead.
And there was probably a definite need and or opportunity for them to do that. So
yep.
I think it's a fair assessment.
Fair assessment. So like, subscribe. When we get to 250 subscribers, we will be giving away a golden Power of Veto from BBU, as not this monstrosity that they wear here in BBCAN, because I think it's huge. So we will be giving away a golden Power of Veto.
Flavor Flav. Okay.
That is signed by a former player. So make sure you get that. Get signed and subscribed. Make sure you get that done. Join us next Thursday as we go over Survivor 44, and then join us again on Friday as we break down BBCAN
double
11.
eviction, baby.
The double eviction, baby. 2 people going home. Probably Renee's one of them, because she won't be able to compete. So make sure you check that out. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching this after the live, thank you for watching. Please put some comments in the actual comments so that way we can comment to you and talk to you. Thank you. Good night.
Bye, y'all.